So before we begin the video, I'd like to give a special shout out to the Fork 2002 who let me use part of his gameplay in the opening montage of the video. If you keep your eyes open and really pay attention, you might see the Fork show up in several of my videos as just a member of the team. He's really the only person I ever play with in a party, and he's the guy who got me into Call of Duty in the first place. So I'd like to just draw a little attention to that and say thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Hello everyone and welcome to my first weapon class setup video for Advanced Warfare. In this video we'll be doing the Ak-12, and the reason it's taken me so long to start doing class setup videos is because I really wanted to get a lot of experience with the weapons and with different perks and really try things out and figure out what is the best class setup for each weapon. I didn't want to just, put together random attachments and perks and then say, well, this is the best for this gun, go use it. I did well with it. I wanted to really make sure that each one of these videos is personalized to the weapon. I think that each weapon in this game serves a different purpose. There's a different play style for each gun in the game, whether it's each individual AR, each individual SMG. They all handle a little bit differently. They all serve a different purpose. Some are better for close quarters, some are better for long range and things like that. So I really wanted to play around with the weapons and play around with everything to really make sure that this truly is the best class setup video. And I'll tell you that as soon as I started using this class setup, I got my two best games immediately. My first one, I went 31-10, and these are kill confirmed. I went 31-10, followed immediately by 37-9, which are by far the two best games I've had in this since I got Advanced Warfare, and I think the class setup had a lot to do with that. So that's why it's taken so long. I'm sorry that you've had to wait for a while to get it, but here it is. Episode 1, Ak-12. So the first thing you're going to want to do when setting up your Ak-12 is select which Ak-12 you're going to use. And I know that sounds kind of silly that, it's the Ak-12. Obviously I'm going to use that. But the Ak-12 is one of these weapons that the variants not only give you different stats and different, damage and mobility, things like that, they also give you different iron sights. There's 3 different iron sights in the game. There's iron sight number 1, which is the standard Ak-12, and a few of the variants have this one. You'll notice, take notice of the front sight. It's very blocky. It's fully enclosed, and there's a full circle around the top of it. And so it blocks not a significant portion of your screen. I'm not saying you can't use it. I don't have a problem using it. It's just not the best one, in my opinion. And then iron sights number 2, this particular weapon is called Bleeder, and this is actually one of my favorite versions of the Ak-12 because it's got higher damage, so it requires 1 fewer bullet to kill. But you'll notice that with this one's iron sights, all they did was they took the original iron sights and they cut off the top of the circle on the front sight, which is kind of nice. It's a little more open. But then you look at the one that I'm actually using in the game. This one's called Fluted. And what they did was they took the original iron sights, they cut off the top of the circle, and they hollowed out the inside of the front sight. It's very, very open. I don't lose people in my iron sights very often, even at long ranges. And if you'll notice during the gameplay, for my best class setup, I'm not using the optics. I'm using the iron sights, so they are important. You want to make sure that you pick the ones that work best for you. Now the Ak-12 is a very specialized weapon. It has very low recoil and a very low fire rate, which makes it great at long ranges. So you're going to want to be a long-range fighter with it because, like I said, it's got very low fire rate, and it's a 4-shot kill at close range, making it one of the weakest guns in the game at close range. Now, you're going to get plenty of close-range kills with it simply because you'll react faster than the other guy, or the other guy won't know you're there, but in a fair fight where 2 people react at the same time and don't miss, the AK-12 is not going to beat very many guns up close. So it's very important with your class setup to counter those weaknesses and embrace those strengths. And what I like to do is I like to focus on stealth and awareness with this gun. I don't need a foregrip with it. I don't need an optic with it, which means that I can use all these perks and attachments to really, see the enemy before they see me and be prepared. Preparation is key with the AK-12. So on the stealth side of things, what you're going to want the suppressor, which of course it knocks your range a little bit, but range doesn't really seem that important to me. I never really noticed that it's taking more shots to kill at long range, or fewer shots to kill at long range rather, because frankly, by the time you get into where you're really wanting to fight with this gun, you're going to be at your maximum shots to kill anyway, because that's the strength of the gun, is low recoil, long range. So silencer really doesn't hurt you real bad, but it does keep you off the enemy radar, which is a huge help. I don't play without a silencer, even though you can move so fast in this game, and by the time they see your red dot, you're on the other side of the map, whatever. I don't even want them to know what direction I'm coming from. I don't want them to have any idea where I am. The next one is low profile. It's a tier 1 perk, and UAV is one of the things that a lot of people use in this game because it's a low score streak, and frankly, the score streaks aren't that great in this game anyway. So, low profile is really nice to have. And again, it just keeps you off the enemy radar. They don't know where you are. That gives you the advantage. And then, of course, there's Blast Suppressor, which is a tier 3 perk, and that's an absolute must-have. So, I'm assuming you know what it does. It makes it to where their little circular ping does not show up on enemy radar when you use your exo abilities. That is something I just absolutely refuse to play without. And then finally there's Cold-Blooded, which you don't have to have Cold-Blooded. I kind of like it. It's kind of nice to have. That's the one that makes you invisible to thermal sights and whatnot, and also keeps the red name from appearing above your head. I don't use it on all my classes. I am using it on this gameplay, and it is a nice little stealth perk that you can use if you want to, but it's not a necessity. Now for your awareness, I like to use two things that I don't think very many people use. I don't notice a lot of people using them and I mean, I don't really know how I would notice, to be honest, but it's just, I thought they were kind of useless when I first looked at them. I never thought about using them, and then I started to use them. I'm like, wow, I can't play without this now. The first one is peripherals, the one that makes your minimap larger. It really fills out your minimap, and you can see so much more. And the other is parabolic mic, and parabolic mic is such an important perk. I love parabolic mic, and it's more than just being able to see where the enemy is that's shooting at you. A lot of times what I'll do when I'm playing is I'll look at my minimap, and if I don't know where the enemy is, I don't know where anybody is specifically, I'll just stand still for a while and wait for someone to shoot. Because if they're not using a silencer, they're going to show up on my radar anyway. If they are using a silencer, they're going to show up because of parabolic mic. And even if they're too far away for me to get to them, that lets me know where the enemy is, period. That lets me know what area they're coming from, what direction they're coming from. It just is a very useful little thing, and it allows me to go hunt them down, or it allows me to prepare for them to come from that side or that direction. And sometimes that's all it takes that's the difference between getting shot in the back or winning a gunfight that someone else isn't as prepared for as you are. So I strongly suggest using parabolic mic. And peripherals isn't a necessity, but I just really like it. I've tried playing without it recently, and I don't like doing that now. So if you've been following along and doing the math, you'll know that at this point in your class setup, you have 5 spots available to use still. And everything from here on out is kind of personal preference. If you want a grenade, use a grenade. If you want a exo ability, use an exo ability. Another nice little stealth thing would be cloaking, but I don't really care for grenades or stealth abilities, I don't really care for grenades or exo abilities. I always like to prefer perks, attachments, and score streaks. So for me personally, what I'll do is I'll put on primary gunfighter and stock, and perk 3 greed with toughness. And my favorite score streak right now is the sentry turret with 360-degree head, sentry, and support attachments, making it a 1450 score streak. But since it's support, you're pretty much guaranteed to get at least one a game. And it's a very useful perk. If you know where to put these things, you can get 10, 15 kills with it pretty easily. Thanks for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my future class setup videos, and I hope this helps you out a lot. Leave a like if it did, and until my next video, happy killing things. I'm still working on the sign off. I haven't quite figured it out.